12, 13.
And which time was this?
That would have been 1987, 88. And he had a keyboard wired into the decks, and he knew a few chords. And I just loved the old Italo piano house back in those days. And he was teaching me some chords, and he lent me that keyboard, and I walked out of that day, and I've never looked back since that day. So that was the point, say, in my early teens. And then I went to music school.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for 5 years at Leeds College of Music.
Oh, that's quite a famous place now.
Yeah, it is. When I went, it was 600 students.
Yeah.
There's now about 5,500.
My goodness.
So yes, it's very popular. And another turning point with a mentor was two American guys that I'd met just for off chance. A guy called Angel Moraes,
Yeah.
and Sandy Rivera.
That's big names.
Yeah,
also.
and they mentored me. Sandy especially, for years.
Yes.
For absolute years, all the way through the 90s. And then he moved to London, and I've just spent so many hours in the studio with him. And I hadn't spoken to him for like 3 months on the way to the airport here. He'd heard in Ibiza what was going on.
Yeah.
He's ringing me up. It's like, yeah, I'm proud of your boy. Do you know what I mean? It was a proper sort of moment without being too emotional. But it was a moment, and he'd heard all about the machine. And he even sort of paid for it in some ways, because all his old equipment he just gives to me.
Really?
Yeah, he's been doing that for ages, and it's just been piling up and stuff that we're not even going to use anymore. So I eBayed a load of it, and he part paid for the equipment, the setup I had. So yeah, he's been a massive. And if you could probably single out one person, which is quite difficult to, but I would say Sandy, because he's put so much time into us. He really has, and really helped us along the way. Give you a confidence. When you meet someone like that at such an early age, and you see how he developed. I met him when he was 25, and before he wrote Finally, and when he was writing the big underground club records, and you see him develop as well, and you sort of grown together.
You could see yourself in that spot, or
I'd like to think so. I'd like to hope so, not think so. I'd like to hope so.
Right.
But yeah, and I mean, I think the dynamic of it has changed. I don't think you'll ever see an artist as big as Michael Jackson, because it's changed.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The whole thing's changed. Lady Gaga gets a cheque for £40,000 if she sells 1 million downloads on iTunes. If you sold 1 million records in the 80s, you get a lot more than 40 grand.
Well, I heard that she actually got stocks now in the company because they have so little money, in that record company. In any case,
it's strange. It really has changed, and I think it's going to change again. I mean, I owned a record shop for 6 years, and I can honestly say I probably know 400 DJs. And I'd say out of that 400 DJs, if I'd have told them that 90% of them are going to be using laptops in 6 years' time, they would have screamed blue murder at me. Yeah, but they're all using. So I think the beat matching thing and the old style of one record into another, I think the days are numbered. And I was sticking my neck out saying that, and I'm sure people watching it and the purists and the vinyl heads are all screaming blue murder at me, but the progression's going. And of course that's speculation, but it's happening.
It is?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't even beat matching now, and they're just syncing on their laptop.
Right, I mean, but do you still see, like, does a DJ have to be quite technical, you think, now?
I think creatively, the more technical you are, the better DJ you are, yeah.
Right.
I don't think you have to, because I know there's ones that aren't particularly technical and can't engineer their own music.
Right.
But they're still getting on.
Right.
But I do believe that there's very few DJs that are breaking through that haven't got productions.
And now it seems that most DJs are doing their own productions. And how about you? Do you produce like other artists, or is it mostly?
Yes, I've produced other artists when they ask us. Yeah.
Can you mention some names?
Yeah, Kathy Diamond.
Kathy Diamond.
Yeah,
yes.
I've worked with her. The girl from Alicia Sassy, Shelley Paul.
Uh-huh.
Danielle Moore from Crazy P. Some of the singers. I've helped. So I don't really like engineering records for people. I've worked with a huge amount of I'm producing a record for Danny Rampling at the moment, producing a record for Alfredo. But I do it if they're named or I'm honoured to be in their presence.
So you actually like to get your hands dirty?
Oh yeah, I'm on full on. I'm on. I'm all do all the equipment myself.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I had Cubase in '91.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had Cubase before it was One. It was Cubase Audio.
Yeah. On the Atari.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now since we are doing this for a Norwegian audience, tell us a little about your. Do you have any experiences with Norway? And
the only experience I have with Norway is I met a Norwegian girl once, and she was beautiful, and she pushed very strongly that the place was the most beautiful place in the world. And it's funny you should say what you just have. So I have a Swedish friend over on Sunday, and I was talking to him about the area of that part of the world.
Right.
And I was saying, oh, it's a beautiful place, and he was like, yeah, but Norway, that's the place. That's the most beautiful place in the world. The scenery and all the rest of it. So I've never been, unfortunately.
So we have to get you there.
I'd love to.
Sweden has obviously done a lot on both on the dance scene and the pop scene lately. I'm sure you know about this Swedish House Mafia and all these guys. While Norway seems to maybe been a little. I didn't see one Norwegian at the IMS this year. Do you think any thoughts about that?
I think that every dog has its day.
Right.
I mean, for me, the music that's coming out of Holland at the moment, or the Dutch, actually is not necessarily coming out of Holland, but Dutch people that live in Berlin. There's some amazing music coming from those guys. And in one at a certain time, it was America, New York, Chicago, Detroit. There was a period in the start of the millennium where it was France.
Right.
You say Sweden, I do not subscribe to those guys whatsoever. I really don't. And I think some of the press angles that we've seen recently are nothing but insulting to people that have put their life into it.
Right.
But every dog has their day.
Right.
And you're
maybe
there.
Just Norway are a little after, maybe.
No, well, they've got every dog has their day. Argentinians are coming through. They've got some great music coming from and the Brazilians, and it's all great. But I think there's always sort of periods where those guys from there are running. Like the US house scene was amazing in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? And the Daft Punk and all those guys in there. And I think everybody has their day. I really do. I mean, there's Colombians. A lot of people talking about groups coming from Colombia, house music coming through there, so I think with the technology getting more accessible, anyone that wants to do it can.
Exactly.
And I think that, I hope the Norwegians do come through.
All right, well, Matt, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.